who has always put, since he entered the West Point many, many years ago, his country's interests before his own, and this is what he gets for his service to the country. My friends, I hope you'll condemn this. I hope you'll tell the liberal Democrats in this organization, which is called MoveOn.org, that that's not acceptable in America today. That kind of treatment of American heroes is totally unacceptable and disgraceful. So quite often, unfortunately, we hear impugning of people's character and patriotism. My friends, we need a respectful dialogue. We need to respect the views of those who disagree with us. We understand their sorrow and their frustration, but we also have to explain to them, and I'll try to be brief, the importance not only of what happens in Iraq, but in the region. The president of Iran, you know, the Iranians, who announced their dedication to the extinction of the State of Israel, that are developing nuclear weapons, that are sending the most lethal IEDs, these molten copper IEDs, into Iraq from Iran, that are killing American servicemen and women. As he said the other day, there will be a void in Iraq when the Americans leave, and we will fill it. That's what this is about now. Whether the Iranians will exert their authority, whether the Saudi Arabians will feel the Sunnis, that they have to protect Sunnis, whether it will embolden the Syrians to further try to destabilize and overthrow the government of Lebanon, whether they will continue their build-up on southern Lebanon with Hezbollah, who has dedicated the extinction of Israel, and the list goes on and on. Jordan, a teeny country, has 750,000 Iraqi refugees in it today. You know that things have not gone as well as we had wanted them to in Afghanistan. In Pakistan, there's significant political unrest. And if Musharraf is removed, then it's not clear what course that nation will take. All of it hinges, in my view, on whether we can bring about an environment of security in Iraq, the Iraqi government function more effectively, we then withdraw to bases and gradually withdraw. Now, according to General Petraeus yesterday, we have achieved enough success with this upsurge that we can bring the number of troops down to what it was before the surge began. And so that means that, at least in his judgment, the person we are trusting to conduct the war, that we are succeeding enough that we can at least bring it down to that level. And very appropriately, he's saying, then we'll let you know in a few months as to what we can do with troop levels, depending on whether we continue to succeed or not, or whether events go in the wrong direction. So, my friends, there's a great deal at stake here. There's a great deal at stake here. I do believe that if we leave, there will be chaos, genocide in the region, and we will be back. Now, please don't just take my word for it. Read Zarqawi, read bin Laden, read Zawahiri, read what they say, not what I say. And they say that, of course, they want us out of Iraq. They want to overthrow the Saudi regime. But their ultimate goal is the destruction of everything we stand for and believe in. This is a great force of evil. And it's hydra-headed, and it's around the world, including efforts, according to the head of our CIA recently, efforts of Al-Qaeda to establish cells in the United States of America. My friends, these are difficult times. But I would also remind you that there were other difficult times that many of us in this room remember. When Orson and I and Bud McFarland finished his service in the Marine Corps in Iraq, and Mike Cronin, we had a defeated army. We had a defeated army, and we had a lot of problems in the military. We had rampant drug use, and we had cases of insubordination, and we had desertions, because our army had been defeated. And it took us a long time to restore our military. And it took a leader who believed that our best days were ahead of us. It took a man who came out of the state of California, that in his right arm, Bud McFarland served, who said, my friends, America's best days were ahead of us. He said the Berlin Wall would come down. He said that the Soviet Union was an evil empire, and that our best days were ahead of us. We restored our military, we restored our prestige, and he won the Cold War. America has still got its greatest days ahead of us. But we've got to show the courage and the steadfastness to see this thing through. Otherwise, we will pay a very, very heavy price in American blood and treasure, in my view. So we're going to start a great debate early next week on the floor of the Senate, and it's going to be about Iraq again. And I hope that you will do whatever you can to support the men and women who are serving, which I know you will, but also be active in behalf of maintaining this surge so it can continue to have a chance to succeed. Could I finally say, and then I'd like to, if you don't mind, after I finish, I'd like to answer your questions or comments, and I'd like to also ask my friends here to perhaps make a couple of comments by just relating one brief story to you. Wolfboro, New Hampshire, about a month ago, I was at a town hall meeting, and there was about 400 people there, and it was I love the town hall meetings. You get to listen to the questions or comments or insults that people have, and tell a few jokes, like my old friend Morris Udall's famous joke that everybody's stolen. He walked into a barber shop in Manchester, New Hampshire, and said, "Hi, I'm Morris Udall from Arizona, and I'm running for President of the United States." The barber said, "Yeah, we were just laughing about that this morning." A very similar experience to that. But at this town hall meeting, a woman stood up and raised her hand, and I said, "Yes, ma'am." She took the microphone. She said, "Sir, my son Matthew Stanley was killed in Baghdad just before Christmas last year. Would you do me the honor of wearing a bracelet with his name on it?" And I told her I would, that I'd be honored to do so. And I also told her that I would do everything in my power to make sure that her son's sacrifice was not in vain. You know these stories. You've experienced them. You know how incredible their sacrifice has been. And I will do everything in my power, no matter what it costs me politically, in order to make sure that we make these young people safe, and those who have given with such great sacrifice and honor, both killed and wounded, the honor that they deserve, to make sure that we do carry out the mission and successfully complete it. Thank you for being here with me today, and I thank you, and I'm honored by your presence, and thanks again, all of you, for serving our country. Thanks very much. Could we cut the music here a second? Could I just begin by, this gentleman, your name, sir?
Harry Brunn.
You want to answer the question?
The question I have is, what can we learn from the situations that are left behind in Korea and South Vietnam?
Looking at the gray hair out in this crowd, I know that many of you were in Vietnam. A moment ago, John said we had a defeated army in Vietnam. I take issue with that slightly. We lost the war in Vietnam, but we didn't lose it in the field. You guys know that. We lost it in Washington. What can we do this time? We don't want leaders in Washington prepared to embrace defeat. We want somebody like John McCain who can look you in the eye based on his own experience and tell you truthfully, we've got to stick it out. It's not going to be fun, but that's what we got to do.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that clarification. I thank you very much. Your second question, the support given by the French in the founding of the United States, obviously they played a key and vital role, those of us that study history. I'd like to tell you that on my way back from Iraq on 4th of July, I stopped in France at his invitation to meet the new president of France, who is pro-American, which shows that if you live long enough, anything is possible in America. I'm very impressed by him, and I think he's going to make our relations between the United States and France a lot better. As far as I can tell, he may be the first pro-American leader of France since Lafayette, but I'm not sure. So, thank you. Yes, sir.
I'm Dennis Devine Sr. I live in Council Bluffs here, and I'm just honored to be in your presence. I have my grandfather, World War I, my dad, World War II, and I, during the Vietnam era, I went to Korea, and this is the man I'm voting for, and if anybody in here is not voting for him, come and talk to me. I want to know what you're going to do for our